So this growth in capacity, how to add skills, get a little more secure in what you're doing, not just putting up with everybody else, you don't know what it is that you're fed up with by the IC, but there's something in it. There's an environment you don't want to be in. You may be going to school and studying, and that may be what you want, but you can't stand putting up with a relationship, or you can't stand the kids, or you can't stand having to keep the same job to keep this going. There's a certain point when I want to make it further and take it further during that. And as you talk to people, as you see this, there's a good book the book that I mentioned it before, Saturn Transits, Crisis Ages in Adult Life by Mark Robertson. And you can get it from the AFA bookstore. So if you went to afa.com, it's in Tempe, Arizona, they have an online bookstore for astrology books. You might find them cheaper on Amazon or whatever, but at least they would have these books that may not be anywhere else. Okay, so this one you might find on Amazon. It was around for a number of years, but I don't know how many cycles of publishing. But it goes through these cycles at extent. It was what inspired me. This one and Grant Louis' Astrology for the Millions. It uses this cycle extensively too. So, but we're doing it. This is enough. Like, I think you don't need the books. If you're working with this and you're applying, you'll see how it works for you. Then as you watch other people go through, you go, oh, look at that. But you got to remember, Saturn's below the horizon. It's not about status. It's about getting skills, it's developing yourself, working on yourself, working on your intellect, getting your home together, getting your personal world together, so that you're ready for relationships and for doing things out in the world where it comes in. At different ages, this can happen. So this growth and capacity comes up, and then by the time Saturn's hitting your descendant, you've got skills or you haven't got skills. You've made choices you like, or if you made choices you didn't like, this is really depressed because you're stuck in relationships around things that you're not wanting to do. So, but usually whatever you've done and been working on, people start recognizing, you start making more effort. There's a bit of a depression because who am I, when I'm going, it's not going far enough, fast enough. But here, the extra work that's required, you can be holding on to a relationship and not really growing. And you have to go make it to do it more, and the relationship can hold you back, or you have to deal with it and say, well, I can only spend that. I've got to put more time to the relationship, more time to other relationships to start building up my status. I got to get out of here. Usually by the time you got to get out of here, everyone else wants you to get out of there too, to get going too. So, but this is the beginning, this is the end of the Saturn identity crisis. By the time you've gone through and built up these 15 years through personal growth in capacity, by the time it gets up to descendant, the crisis in relationship is you can't relate. You're having to change how you relate to other people, how you take feedback. See, Saturn's moving up, but really this part of your chart is setting. This is a setting part of your chart. So it's how you take in impressions from others. So you know all these things, you built up all these skills, but nobody's recognizing, you're not getting the feedback, you're not getting the jobs, it's not all working that fast for you. So you're wondering, oh, why isn't anybody noticing what I'm doing? Why am I not getting enough attention? So there's a depression around not getting enough attention, which is very different than not fitting in at the identity crisis. But you're not getting the feedback you want. So you're gonna have to work to start to package what you have in terms of making it useful to other people. And once you realize I've got these skills, this can be used in this way, I have to adjust it this way, you start putting the energy out into the world, and you start getting recognized for what you're good for or what you're not good for. Of course, your happiness, your hygiene, your attitude, this is all 5th, 6th house. If you got bad breath, it's going to be hard to get recognized by other people. If you're not physically living well, if you haven't learned how to play or be healthy. If you've got, but if you have some skills or some things we developed, you want to use them more, and you want other people to recognize. But you may think, well, I'm the healing artist, healing arts person now, but nobody's realizing it. How do I go further? And either someone can come in and you make a commitment with someone, but you're getting more involved with other people's. And as you're doing that, it's demanding more time to be part of the group, part of the team, part of the other person than it is to be yourself. So by the time Saturn hits your descendant, the crisis is, before then you got to spend at least 60% of the time on your own personal selfish development. When it goes above the horizon, you have to spend 60% or more on your social functional world, on other people, on being out and being useful to other people and participating. And you have to give up some of that self-centeredness and that personal side. And when by the time you've been doing that for 15 years, you're insecure about this. I don't know, why am I going to fit out there? I don't fit out there. And you're having to go there to get this recognition, to be part of things. So it's got this growth and functioning from the descendant to the midheaven. You're starting to get involved with more people. You're starting to apply what you know, and it's affecting more people. They're liking it or negatively not liking what you do. Like either way, it's coming up, it affects your functioning. And as it does, each person that comes in is going to have more demands on your time. So here from the descendants is that you're having to put more and more time out to other people and out to the world around you to participate, to get more function, more skill. If it's not working the way you want, you add more skills. You would take some studies to increase your functioning. Or you're not going back to personal learning, you're having to learn something that so it fits into other people. And that will build up your status. And depending how well you do this and build up this functional side, 7th, 8th, 9th, making your own money, sharing, investments, right attitudes, who you align with, who you don't, all of these social functions come in. So if you start with making bad relationships, you're going to have bad functions, you're going to have bad values, bad philosophy, and you're going to have a negative status. But if you align with good people that are working with you and you start working, making that effort to go there, it's going to grow. And this is really building up career, building up status. Not just career, it can be status with being, you can bring up your kids and suddenly your kids are in university, you got your status, or you have a grandparent, become a grandparent, you got extra status. So it comes from career, it comes from kids, but you're growing in your function, you have to do things. If you have kids, you have to get them out to do things more, you have to relate to others, you make more trade, you're doing things. It's different when it's below the horizon, you're not inclined to do that so much. Somewhat, some degree, it's not black and white, but these are phases you can see. There's growing and functioning to participate more, to be involved, to use what you have and make it work. So if you have something that other people need, how do they find out that you need it, or how do you fix it? So you might be able to, you might know several languages, but boy, that doesn't help anyone else unless you're translating for people or using it for other people or connecting people. You have to find a commitment and put time in to make this, to package this a little better for other people, so other people can see what you have and make use of you. If you have skills, somebody will always need what you can do. You just have to make a bit of effort to interact and then to live up to those commitments. So the commitments outside become important. So if you've done the growth and capacity right, you start having more people needing your commitments, and your challenge is, geez, I got to make more time for this. I can't go back and study anymore. You're changing your old patterns to more functional from subjective being. So as this happens, you build up your social functional world. And as you're doing this, you're going to get up to the peak of your status. This is only, you're only going to get 3 peaks in your life if you live long enough. Maybe if you had one when you were 2, you might have 4. But there's only going to be a couple that you're consciously really working and making this happen. A lot of times it's going to be happening to you. But you're going to see, watch this growth and functioning, and the need to be growing and functioning, need to be putting time out, need to be participating, finding a job, being involved. If you get here and you disassociate and you fall back into yourself, and I had a bad relationship, I fell into myself, I'm not going anywhere, I'm just going to be at home. You start diminishing, you're going against the grain, you're not functioning, other people are getting by, and you're wasting time. So in the personal growth field, you're wasting time if you're not reading a book, studying, getting new information. In this stage of growth and functioning, you're wasting your time for not participating and being involved with other people more and more. And in the end, this depends on the type of chart you have, where your priorities are. Is your priority in your life personal growth, or is it in functioning? So people born with their sun in 7th, 8th house, Saturn comes up there to define their goals. They're growing up to their functioning. People have their sun down below, as Saturn's building up, they may not want to do it. They may not grow as much functionally. So our natal chart is showing this is happening around our natal chart and around our life. So it's happening to us and we're experiencing it from our natal chart. But this is just such a brilliant cycle. So you see, so by the time it's functioning, there's so many different ways it can function. It depends what's happened at the ascendant, what's happened at the IC. So once you see the descendant, you see what the changes that happened there, whether someone got more involved or if they did or didn't, to what degree, what happened. Then you can begin to see, oh, what kind of status they're going for. By the time you get to the midheaven, you're so busy being out in the world and seeing your social integrity, or you have your status, or if you made your husband or your partner the status, and you're backing them up, they got the status, but they're at the peak. You're far away from having time at home. So your personal motivation can get traded off and gets exhausted, gets really tested against the demands of everyone else. So when Saturn gets to the midheaven, it's a crisis in social integrity. How do you fit in the world? How do you take on responsibilities? If you say you're going to get a job done, do you get it done or don't you? Do you have respect? Do you have dignity? Do you have honor? Can you accomplish things? This is the peak of status, what you can accomplish. And what you're trying to accomplish outwardly will always challenge how much are you prepared to do? If you don't believe in what the outside is, and you think, no, I got to live my integrity, you may not get the jobs. Your peak of status may be a little molehill rather than a mountain. It's a choice. It can happen all different ways. But this cycle is there, and you should be able to see it as it's working through someone's life. So you're more time out in the world, more time to increase your functional capacity. And if you're going to study in this period, it's got to be with an eye to what position you're getting, what you're going to do with it, how it's going to affect other people, how it's going to fit in. When it's below the horizon, it's not about that. It's what I can do, what I'm capable of. What can I develop for me so that I'm good enough and I like what I'm doing and know what and then I can go out. Okay, so sometimes someone has to take their kids, take the 15 years to take care of the kids, and the kids are going to school, they got to start functioning too in a different way. So this can come, having kids can happen anywhere. Getting married has different attitude at every place. Personal growth time, getting married, you're usually avoiding facing what you're doing, and that's there, so you don't have to study as much. The challenge is to keep studying and learning even if you're getting married during that period. The growth in capacity, you want to perform, you want to get attention, someone gives you attention, it's easy to fall in love with that, have a kid. I mean, Saturn on the IC is probably the best time to have the kid. By the time they're 7 or 8, you've got the crisis in relationships, they're going to school, you have to let go, you got to get busy in other ways. It builds up to the functioning to their, in high school, they're graduating or not, or they're getting into high school, and you have a different status or position around that. And then you're extending the influence. See, once you've got your peak in position, you get motivated by the position you're in. So you're motivated from the IC up to the mid. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to prove this. You're motivated to grow and get more and more acknowledgement. Once Saturn gets to your midheaven, you're in position. Now, that may not be if you didn't do a work right, if you didn't do the foundation right, if you didn't study when the person goes through, your status will be be a peak of status, but it may not be what you really wanted to do. In which case, so once you get this position, you see the position you're at, your sense of status, knowing where peak, the person may say, it was not a great time, but you know where you were, you know where you got out of the home you came out of, you got out of the family, you got this job going, you didn't get this job, or you got this much happen, or it didn't happen. This is a peak of status. Then based on that status, you're going to use that status to try and influence other people. Because I'm in this position, because of the status, I'm going to have these friends, we're going to do these things, I got to have these functions, I got to be at this meeting, I got to be there, I got to go. There's all these other commitments come in around your status. So you're trying to increase your power of your status. So you took all this time to get there, then you want to increase your status, which is the way to go. Creativity to other people, 10th house, 11th house, into 12th. But what happens is as you're increasing your status, you're not doing this because you're motivating, you're doing this because you want to impress the people around you, that you're somebody, you want to be known for what you're doing, for your status. So you're putting that energy out into the world, and every bit that you're putting out into the world, you're naturally losing your personal motivation because you're doing it for others to prove to others, not for yourself, not for your own integrity. So you're getting pulled into other people's worlds. You got your status, you got position, you got friends, you're building it up, you're extending your influence. You're going to take on more things. You're going to try and build your career bigger. But as you build your career bigger, it can get bigger, but you're going to be a little more tired and not as motivated. That people are going to drain your energy more, but you're still going to use that influence and you're getting paid for it. These are good money-making times. But by the time Saturn gets down towards your 12th house, you start burning out. You start having career friends, Saturn the 11th, or people you have to know and have to spend time with, have to do this for influence, but you're not having the time to play with your kids. It's more serious. I got to take care of this guy. By the time it gets to your 12th house, you're getting tired. Other people are getting promotions past you. Other people are coming in and growing in function. They're building up and you're tired. You don't want to grow. You don't want to be putting more time in. You want to get time off for yourself. Or you're burning and you're pushing, you want to get more influence, and you're losing your health and burning out. And the burnout can cause the identity crisis if your health goes. Or if you're certainly in this period from the midheaven to the ascendant, you've used up your motivation by the time you got to the midheaven, but then you got status, so you're going to use that influence. And as you use that influence and extend that influence, you're really losing your personal motivation, but you don't see it because you're preoccupied with how you're affecting people and what you're doing out there, whether it's good or bad. You're preoccupied with that, where you're fitting, what you're doing, who's there, who's not, and you're working on extending your influence. If you marry someone, they're extending the influence, they're pushing the center, so that's who they are, I think you got. By the time they descended, they have an identity crisis and they're pulling away, they're not going to be like that anymore. Are you ready for the switch?